Yes, we're back again with the Euro Forum. As we always promise that we try to do the needful so that we see that we make ends meet by creating more awareness, helping one another. It's a two-way traffic. The more Euro Forum uh, management decides to say that we bring topics or we bring people who can share their wisdom. It's an issue that we think it's a two-way traffic that we're learning from one another. But it's a routine we always do. It's Euroforum today. And as we always say, every Sunday at 16:40 European time, we're always here. We're based in Denmark, Norway, Sweden, and Finland. That's where we broadcast from. But for today, I'm representing from Denmark or broadcasting live from Denmark. You're welcome to the Euroforum. And the topic today is connected with breast cancer. Just a reminder, we are remaining with 63 days. So it's a challenge to you, yourself, who had issues connected to this year. What I'm trying to mean is if you had resolutions or a target to accomplish as we come to the end of the year, you're just remaining with 63 days. And in Copenhagen, when I look outside, it's been a rainy day and expecting to be having a rainy week. But as for now, it's 9 degrees in Copenhagen, Denmark, where I believe we have to adjust on the way we look at issues. Weather in Europe determines a lot of how we do live in all spheres, whether it's economic or it can be social. Sometimes they also claim also political. Weather really is a determinant here in Europe, in all circles. But as for now, let me just go straight to our topic of discussion and by welcoming our guest, Dr. Ruth. Dr. Ruth Kisakye is, before I give her a platform to profile herself, I'll just want to also brag around that I'm lucky in my networks. I have longtime friends who are doctors, who are politicians, who are business oriented. I mean, the networks we tend to have at times determines who we are. But today, I'm having a doctor of which we've been friends from way back 2008, 9, when she had just joined the medical world or the medical school. So, doctor, you're welcome. I'm happy that you honored our invitation. You're welcome, Dr. Ruth.
Thank you.
And if you don't mind, you can profile yourself and we know who Dr. Ruth is.
Thank you so much, Mr. Smoge. I'm called Ruth. Kisakye, simplicity, but I'm Dr. Ruth Kisakye. I'm married to Dr. Sematimba Douglas. He also stays here in Sweden, Stockholm. And I have 3 boys. And I'm a mother. And yeah, I finished my medical school in Macquarie University in Kampala. And I came to Sweden to do my master's in global health here in Stockholm as well, Karolinska. And then I was in primary ward, that we can say it's primary health care as a family physician. So we deal with most of the, like it's like the first center of care, if I'm to say, yeah, basically. So when Mr. Smoge approached me about prostate cancer, it's quite wide, it's quite primary. So it kind of like a comfortable, got at a comfortable point in my area. And of course, as a global health specialist, it's also kind of on a rise globally, both here in Sweden, in our country, Uganda, and on a global scale. So I'm extremely privileged to be here on this great forum. And I really hope that so many people out there can benefit from what we're going to discuss. Thank you so much.
That's really amazing. You're really so welcome. And actually, I'm so honored. Yes, I've gotten some viewers when we posted this show. They say that it could be much more comfortable if you can fuse both language. The fact that Omuchala, Mugando, no, Sobola to fuse both languages, and for a layman actually to really understand the topic, so that she doesn't maybe go so much deep in the medic terminologies. That's what I would say. But you're welcome. Meanwhile, you've talked about being a mother, and Yes. How's Mr. Dr. Sematimba?
Ali bulungi sebo. It's fine.
And
So
the,
I
and the
just
kids are okay?
emphasize using the languages. So
And the kids are okay?
yes, they're fine. Thank you.
Before actually I start the show, I would love to know your Dr. Ruth Kisakye Sematimba, and he's Mr. Sematimba.
Yeah.
Paul. Question is, how did you find it out that it's easier for you two guys to be in the medical world, or it would be a matter of another day?
Not really. It's just like briefly we were friends. We met way back in the first year of medical school at Makerere. So we became like very good friends, and one thing led to another. And I just found out that he's quite someone easy to go along with. We met when it came to all types of bonding, social bonding, intellectual bonding, physical bonding. There's so much. So
always matching.
Yeah, I mean, it was just so easy, you know. So it was like, it wasn't just about like, oh, he's a doctor, I'm a doctor. Like, not really, but we just matched, like, just spontaneously. And of course, like, after a very long time of being friends, we're just like, yeah, why not?
Yeah. You know, of recent, we just had a topic connected to finding lovers, and then that's why I had to hit a little bit about that. But straight to a topic of discussion, it's more, exactly prostate cancer awareness and treatment. To a layman, when we talk about prostate cancer, it comes a little bit tricky. We have a lot of cancers, and by virtue of your introduction, you've talked about prostate cancer being a little bit widespread as per now. Just if you can give us a little background about really what is cancer, and do we have more several cancers before we hit the real topic of prostate?
Okay, thank you so much. Cancer is quite a wide topic, really, but to be very precise and direct to the point, now this is just like, you know how cells are like in the body. So there's that abnormal division of cells that they call dysplasia in the medical term. But as Katinga all about like a normal body, how it's built, but then somehow there's that disorganization of the cell cycle. Nebanga, it can produce like toxicity or toxicity, like the cells really get toxic. So it's just like disorganized division of cells. Yeah, that's basically cancer. That's it. And when it comes to prostate, it's quite common because the risk factors are actually unavoidable. And when I say unavoidable, most of the guys, like when they clock 50, their testosterone levels start dropping. So that's something that you cannot avoid. No, I'm gonna stay 30. So that's why it's really awareness, no. Again, I mean, it's very important so that people can know, and then they get like early screening, because it's preventable, of course. Now, what I'm trying to say is, yeah, basically that's it about the prostate. And about the cancer, it's just like this disorganized distribution of like cells and division of cells. So yeah, basically. And of course, another thing I have to say about maybe different cancers, or like how prostate cancer is really special, apart from just like manifesting because of like high age, if I'm to say. There's so many ways of like preventing different types of cancers. For example, nizogamba sigenda smoking or reducing my risks of lung cancer.
Lung cancer, true, yeah.
Yeah, nogamba sigenda kola maybe early sex to reduce the risk of cervical cancer because of the HPV virus. Nogamba sigenda amanya bintu byenjawulo to prevent different cancers. Naye prostate edimu a little tricky kubanga tata
let me chip in a little bit. You talked about something, avoiding sex. Is there any cancer brought up by sex, early sex?
Cervical cancer, yeah.
And it affects men or women?
No. Do you have a cervix, Mr. Smokey? Sorry, I'm sorry. But
no, there's some things that as a layman needs me to.
oh, I'm sorry to
figure
say.
out.
Okay, yeah. But what happens, and then no, to actually to advocating anyonga to the Uganda kubanga abala banji bali babera pushed into alisex ngabali batoye because of that
Oh yeah.
level of education. Tata bayagala dawari webityo so mana ku 14 nagenda mu fumbo.
Yeah.
You know this the layer. How am I gonna say? Maybe let me call it as it's supposed to be called. The vagina is not yet really established well. It's not yet ready for that act. So ziberanga tezidi can I say developed? Exactly. Yeah. So when you really involve in that act, katunga wenda kugami mukansa edi like abnormal division of cells. Kati wogara mchine chikola like there's a high risk prone the risk is high for these cells to get abnormal division. Kati omusajja ayinza okaringa the HPV, the virus itself. Naye agenda nayenga mukazi agenda okola ki okusufferinga. Kuba virus agenda baya nayo, and then definitely, of course, there's so many types, 16, 18, there's nyingi nyo tetugenda genda mu details. Naye kati waliwo your particular type predisposing to cervical cancer, and that's why it's very, very common in Uganda. In Uganda, and of course in other developing countries. Toge na mulaba mu Europe, for example. No, you're not gonna see that. Na yo gena mulabe wafe, ngera condition wenji kunyonyode. So yes, that's.
But are we so much aware about this? Is there any awareness about that one for the ladies that want the cervical cancer in Uganda?
Well, when you talk about awareness, kogerera muntu like individually, but then I can talk about fenga abali mu medical world, like we really tried our best.
Okay.
Community health, you know, ngatuchali from the time we were still medical students. Ngatugenda mu communities, we try to educate. Now single sanga communities, they are not even welcoming that. Ngoli yagala dawari mu muwala wa 14 years. Ngachichicho mugamba, you know. So ngabako taina na sente zigula sabuni waka. Omugamba ate bichi ate wana mukole bwati like take away your nonsense twako abasawo. So but when you talk about awareness, abantu amu benonyeza information, so people are really aware if they really want to get aware. Naya abatagala kumanya, some people really know nayenga, they really keep a deaf ear, but I think we really did what we could do, and even right now I'm sure drives ezozichali were to make people aware. Kubanga cervical cancer is really, really deadly, and it spreads in a very funny way. And people die. Sigaya mono it's only a risk nayenga like the highest yeyo. So that's why we really to targeting a prevention mechanism, and it has really worked. Naye.
Wow.
There's that community kind of barrier. Yeah.
So this leaves a lot of a challenge actually to the media fraternity to do certain useful works like this. You know, to danyomo issues connected to Bintu Ebitatu Zimba, yet there are things that can actually clear life, and then we hide too much nonsense, and then we leave the majors, and then actually, basically I would say, we major on minors, and then we leave less time for the majors. So it's a wake-up call, even those people who have a voice on different social media platforms, at least to always come out and go for sensitive topics like the one we're having here on your forum of prostate cancer. Yes, Lady Dr. Ruth, I'll call you, it's simpler for me to call you Dr. Ruth. I will not finish all your botanical names, but I'd rather leave. I would rather leave it like that. Dr. Ruth, yes, there's somewhere where I've echoed that it's a must. It's unavoidable when it comes to men.
I didn't think so.
A thing which leaves everyone now into questions and worry.
No. Smoggy, you know, Olava, let me give an example of malaria when you study the topics. We have different body compositions, we have different immunities, we have different genetic predispositions. Apparently, there's just so much that I can talk about that. Na chenjaga dogamba is an avoidable risk factor. No gambe, junk, I'll lose weight. You know,
Oh,
or
yeah.
to like, this is something you're not going to avoid. You're going to avoid cutting. I've told you like the biggest risk factors. For example, ugambye age, ne genetics. If my dad had prostate cancer, atenga bamukola early diagnosis, for example, below 40, below 45, definitely I'm at a high risk. Era nayo information tuwa tujetaga nyonga abasawo. Ate wano, in for example in Sweden, they really emphasize for a doctor to ask about that risk factor. Kuba bidala byo no you might be having so much knowledge about the condition na yenga attaching chintu cha genetics to chibuuzizako.
Yeah.
There's what we call SVP, standard vote follow-up. Like it is the way. Okay, how can I call it? System where tambolida. For example, if you come to me and you have maybe symptoms, nizo kuprioritizinga or no, when also can kuleka mukyu. That's how it works. Yeah. Yes, it's a fair treatment. Kakati woba tongambia echo or yinzo kubera like number 7 instead of being number 2.
Oh, yeah.
So when you tell me that, nongamba ne uncle wangi, you have prostate cancer. So nkuteka ku number 1 because the risk is really high when it comes to genetics. Echidala, of course.
Hold on. Meaning that it can be genetic too.
Yes, it is. Prostate cancer, it is. Yeah. So kakati risk factors, tezibera mbono ziri causative of like Plasmodium falciparum causes malaria. Like this. No. It's not causative, but it's egata kuris chiringo kubera obese.
Yeah.
This kia hypertension ebera high. Nasi volume by hypertension.
True.
So this is like adding a risk. Kateyo. Over priority number 1. Katuwajanga yo younger. Ata wate nkusembeza dala mulaini. Kakati, those are the things that we really look at. So there are so many tests, of course, they do. Katiwal where your prostate surface antigen, that the blood test they do. Webanga level yo edi higher. Eda bakolachi, but obeda like first priority.
Yeah.
What tests ngabuchali in case wabela wachizibu chona over there is a cancer that is starting to grow, but you're treating it because it's treatable, it's manageable. It's one of the
Dr. Ruth, I always love to start these things in a layman's way of understanding. I've not been in the medical world, but I would prefer to be a representative of very many people who are watching you right now. I want to look at this show like a story, where I'm going to first start by saying that this actually affects men. Prostate is basically for humans, if I may say. Should away from the humans, can also other animal species be affected by prostate?
Significantly, there's no really grounded or relevant research that has been done around there.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's quite irrelevant, if I'm to say. I might not really be knowing so much about like research of maybe cows or in pigs or in goats, but no, that one I can't really answer that. I don't really have an idea.
Then let's go back now to men. The fact that this is really it triggers men. I'll start with a simple question where someone says that, why is it that men frequently don't go for these medical checkups? Because based on how you've been narrating, it seems we are very lazy. What really prompts men not to go for, in your way of thinking? And in the medical world, I guess it's more evident.
You're right about that.
That's why probably maybe the reason as why we always have prostate cancer, which would have been even curable. Unfortunately, even me who is talking, I've not yet gone for a test. Question is, what do you really think it prompts men not to go for checkups?
That's quite a wide question, but I will summarize the answer in this way. Number 1, when you talk about prostate cancer in its way, it's extremely, it doesn't really cause symptoms. It's something incidental, if I'm to say.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, now the symptoms, but cancer, no. It has symptoms again kuja most of the time when you're above 70. ogenda okulaba someone, doesn't pee, like, pees halfway or feels like the pee is not coming, being often, ebintu bwe bityo noga, let me go for a checkup. But generally, as the prostate saying really symptoms. Number two, men are really funny people. What's your danger? They really think like they're superior. They think they're not vulnerable to like most diseases or most infections, and that's why they have very poor health-seeking behaviors. And that's like, it has been proved worldwide that balina very poor health-seeking behavior. Like they only go nga chili too much nga bafa.
The ego in us or the pride in us.
Yeah, there's also that pride, like the musajja. So that it's just, I think it's your nature. I don't know, I'm not a man. But I have men around me, so I see how they are. They never so yeah, and that's why here in Europe, by now there's a way they've really made it more easy. They just send you a letter. About this date you come, or call it, of course, when you're of age, because they have seen it's preventable. So everything goes fine, and the results have shown that. So like halfway of the prostate cancer has been prevented because of early screening. So just like, let me give an example in comparison with a woman. Breast cancer, togenda wulira pain. Naye abakyala bagenda n'abakana bakola mammography ne bakola bicho kitegera. But women, they won't. Yeah, so
nammwe abakyala badokita kati nga mmwe abamu mukyali bato otuuka eyo musajja nze nakula n'empola ate ngende omwana aninkebejjekebejja ati antimpuletimpula ngenda okuvayo nze nanga mpeddemu ssupu.
So funny.
But all in all, I really do appreciate the fact that you've given me a really online. Dr. Agzizako Chiddamu ekibuuzo ekyo. I would love also to hear from different people. You can always send in your questions if you feel like when you're online, so that we can see, so that we can see how best we can share, opinions and how we can at least make a show really purposeful today. But Dr. Ruth, you've been in your submission, you've been talking about early screening. And when you talk about early screening, I guess everyone now is certain. But what would be the recommended time that one could at least feel? Or what would be the medic recommended time for one to go? Should I kati nina mutabani wange naye mutwale kakati sawa zino bamutinkule?
No, not really. Maybe 50. If I'm that really depends now in Kugambia, that it happens like at different ages. Nayenga 50 that is actually quite early. Some people do 55. Really, it depends. But you can go at any time. Sometimes it's someone first gets the symptoms. And when the symptoms manifest, it doesn't mean that it is spread. It's not like other really malignant cancers. Lung cancer, when you start coughing blood, that's a very bad sign. It might even have spread already to the bones or to wherever, even to the brain. Cancer, lung cancer is different. Prostate, it's quite a kind cancer, as doctors call it. So some people wait for the symptoms. I wouldn't say people to wait, but it doesn't really have like a time. Okay, like 45 or 50 or 55. No. I wouldn't really say that time, but maybe 55, like to me, I think if you don't have like other risk factors, of course, the main two is the genetics, what did I talk about? The age, but for example, like all cancers, really physical inactivity, obesity, blah blah blah, but those are really minors, but they're also risk factors anyway. So chisinzira nekulistio risk factors jolina nayenga me, I think averagely kubanga ugamuno even 45 it can be detected. And and symptoms start at maybe 70, so averaging, so those are 55 would be really a good window, if
Look
Yeah.
at it, for us who are still in the early 40s, we're still safe, though it's a wake-up call. We should go earlier. You never know.
Yeah, you go early and
Okay.
or better
There's a time when you talked about we all differ in our immunity and everything. So at times the effect can also, it can affect you differently. So it comes to a question, does anything connected to the blood group, our different blood groups?
no,
Oh,
no. Prostate cancer, no, none that there's research
it's
evidence.
not. Oh, okay. Yes, to the viewers who have just joined in, we are with Dr. Ruth Kisakye. She's a medic and she's based in Sweden. She's, this I have to confirm to the viewers, I also have to brag. She's my friend in my networks for a long time. And we're happy to be on this topic of discussion, which is prostate cancer awareness and then treatment. Yes, in her submission, she has talked about very many, interesting areas where we see that we least put more brains, yet it's really valid for us to be there. Doctor, in Europe, as when we were almost starting the show before we came live, I was a little bit in a joking way when I tried to ask, as this prostate cancer, are we the Afro-Pins affected more as compared to other races, or it's just normal?
Normal. It doesn't have like a particular preference when it comes to race. I think because it's hormone related, and that hormone is testosterone, and all men have testosterone. There's nothing like, okay, maybe black men have less or white men have more. So that's it. It doesn't have any racial preference. Yeah.
Okay.
Affected because some risk factors ezo ate ng'oli musajja.
Yes, Dr. Ruth.
Yes.
I don't know whether this story was a myth, but it was from a friend of mine. He told me this, and then actually he phoned. By the time we had a talk with him, and when he went to the doctors, they just realized that he had prostate cancer. But it was treatable. As per now, what I can say is really living properly is really good because he detected it earlier. One, I'll ask you, how do you detect this? But before we go ahead, let me just, in a brief, tell you about his talk we had with him. Before he went to the doctor, he had his ex, and they were together. And then the ex, when they separated, she had, these pregnant tests. Those ones, she had them. And then she left one in the bathroom. So while this guy was bragging, he went live on Facebook bragging, like, this woman, even she left, let me just pee on everything of hers. She got a pregnancy test and she peed on it. Surprisingly, the 2 marks came. What prompted him to go on social media to start to laugh was starting to complain that I've never thought I'm pregnant. After peeing on this thing, it seems I've qualified I'm pregnant. Probably I'm an Aphrodite. If not that, I need to go for medical checkup. Oh. So in, joking way on social media, like the way it goes, one of the medic told him, brother, you should go for checkup. Anything can happen. You never know what it means, but you go in the prostate world and then find out. And he took it jokingly. But later, in brief, he had a medical checkup and they found he had, symptoms of prostate cancer. My question here is, what are some of the symptoms? When can I know that actually, do I need to first go check without mining, or are there some signs or some symptoms you can tell that actually this is it, I need to go?
Okay. I don't know if I'd said it earlier, but prostate cancer in itself is different. Now there's what they call BPH, which is benign prostatic hyperplasia. Like the prostate really gets big. So that the fact that the prostate is big, it's like a risk of prostate cancer. So many of them just survive when they are big. Gatemoli cancer, but also this over cancerous. So most of the times the symptoms manifest because of the big prostate, the BPH. That's how you start getting urinary symptoms. When you want to pee all the time, you pee, and when you like what they call urgency, like you really want to pee all the time, like you want to pee, but when you go, you don't pee, or when you go, you pee like two drops, or and then like what they call a weak stream, like the stream doesn't go as it's supposed to be normally, but then it's so weak, and sometimes most of them are urinary, like you get really pain when you're peeing, and sometimes, like, of course, like not like late cases, but some of the severe cases can be like when you pee blood. Anything urinary, you start maybe thinking around that, and you have to rush for a checkup. And other symptoms that people really ignore are the rectal symptoms, because the prostate is engulfed by the urethra, which is where pee goes, and also behind it there's the rectum. So cateno rectum, even you're compressed in a way. So like you're compressing two structures. So when it gets compressed, you can't pull properly. Wesiba ne weak nema ne gwako. Ngokanyanywa warm water, simanya fruits and vegetables, exercise, bichina yenga tawali kolachi. So it's really it's really gross. It's so hectic. And sometimes people just come with only that. Constipation. That's all. And then you're like, can't you just look at the prostate? Like, I'm just 50. I just the prostate is big, so you check PSA, it's high, biopsy, there's a cancer. So it goes and you just have to be aware of the symptoms that really come. But constipation is very common. It's a very common symptom. And yeah, basically, those are the symptoms. And some people really have this myth of sexual dysfunction, symptom, because when you look at a prostate, it doesn't compress the ejaculatory duct. If you look at the anatomy, the urethra and the rectum are very close. Proximity ya prostate. But that is quite yesudeka kabanga. So to be kwatagana. Eba issue ndala nyo, either in a stress or maybe china it doesn't really closely connected.
Because basically also I was almost going to ask you what would be the effects, what effects would the prostate cancer bring on the sexual functioning, but Engeli Jochirese might feel a little bit satisfied. But also this goes back to everyone, like the way Dr. Ruth has said it. You never know when another issue can affect another one. You may claim it's constipation issues, yet the cause is somewhere else. So we need to go for thorough checkup, I think, oftenly. And what would you recommend if someone needs a thorough checkup? Will it be like once in a year, twice in a year, or?
As I've told you, like it's quite organized here. Like the moment you go to a doctor, they do that kind of like the history, and they do some examination and some blood tests. So it depends on where your PSA lies. Webange, it may be less than 1 or less than a certain value. You can even wait 6 years. Webange, it may be between a certain figure in a certain age. Algorithm. Come after 1 year. Wobanga tata over grandfather or an uncle or brother close ngayafuna diagnosis at maybe below 50. And come even frequently. PSA level now once. So maybe you're not determining how often. Or is obanga kati one or you're not because your family health, your primary health physician. Or you're gonna question about weze. So be organized. Maybe if someone ali in Uganda, then I would trick kubanga your system tell you, because the fact that or lab system a bit knows comparing when it comes to cancer management and follow up. You tell you that why no kwefa konoga okay knows a katinzi deyo umusawa. Then no dayo or you have to be knowledgeable in a way about your condition. People are knowledgeable. People know. Obango in a PSA gulu. Then you have to be aware. Naga after 1 year, it has to be your initiative. So just is it a cool system. Basically, that's it. Depends on your age, depends on the PSA levels and the risk factors. Yeah.
Yes, doctor. We of recent we're seeing that almost our health is kind of deteriorating in many areas. Away from prostate cancer alone, we're finding that the things we're using, for example, they're talking about the maybe utensils we are using, they always tend to, cause cancer if we've not managed them well. The way we're eating, at times, it comes in with, is it the chronic, cancer, that one there. Is there any way where, our feeding can be also an issue that can somehow trigger prostate cancer, or it can just go to another type of cancer? The nature of our feeding.
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. But also it's a tricky question because it's not well researched. When it comes to feeding, it is very wild. While you were GMOs, genetically modified GMFs, genetically modified foods, while it was in the frozen and preservatives, while it was junk. There are so many, and there are so many also like different types of micro minerals that really come when it comes to like manufacturing industries. But trying for example, roofing, never jamo asbestos, never jamo even to lead. They really try or college or checks. Especially now that everything is revolving, smart, everything is smart houses, smartphones, smart. Chiba chizibunyo really okugamba okukwata kujinoga microwave because that's really tricky. But a bottom line is anything that is really healthy, as long as you balance your meals, I think it's the best way. Really keep your body active, balance your meals, and you're good to go. Okay, now I'm not gonna say no foil, or my restaurant, or it's quite hard. The way things are right now, they okay, now this is really causing cancer, unless it's researching building materials that they really buying checks inspection is katinga mayumba again bakebera buli kimwe aba anything like lead or anything katecho baberanga. Of course you have to either break it down or do something kubanga ne mateka chiba techikirizibwa because it's research is it is cancer causing naye ekintu ekyemere ekyo sebo ekintu ekyo see it's not something that okutte kuchino bakale enyanya ziva Thailand oba fruits ziva Chile oba Colombia oba zibako oba tekamo soka nozoza ne vinegar nozikuta ne sabo. Those things, like you see so many things on social media and you're like ngatabirina na research evidence. So you just have to really balance okubanga olya baga morning to evening. You just have to balance how you eat, because anything that is good for the heart and the brain is good for the body and the body cells. So it's not gonna be cancer. So naturally, that's the best. That's the way we can live right now. Yeah.
Well, I have a father of mine who told me that if you eat well, you don't need to see a doctor. But once you feed badly, definitely, the likes of Dr. Ruth, you'll be there frequently to get their treatment. So it's a question of awareness, and then you minding so much. Kubango Kola. Yes, like I said, we shall be merging both Uganda and some bit of English for clarity of some medic terminologies, which can be a little bit difficult for a layman, because the show is not only for those in the medical world, but it's for everyone. Dr. Ruth, very many questions. You're seeming to, to answer them unexpectedly, but it's a good way for me. But I wanted to know, yes, diagnosing this, how does it really work? So when you go for your treatment, what do they do exactly? Okay. Yes, you found out you have prostate cancer, how do they deal with it actually to treat it?
Okay.
Medicine, I mean,
Okay, you
how do
asked
they go with this?
if I'm to get it right. Did you ask about the diagnosis or the treatment or both?
Okay, diagnosis first.
Okay, so getting the diagnosis basically you said with a PSA. It
Mm.
really depends. Like when someone really comes with symptoms, what they do is chebaita digital rectal exam. Like you really have to feel the prostate going on. So that's the first thing you do. Sometimes of course, there are signs that what exactly you have to feel and everything. Now, yeah, of course, overall signs. This might be a malignancy that is growing in. Kato, where there's a referral immediately. You can do the PSA as well as your levels as a PSA in Jogedeco immediately. No laba the level. Now, yeah, that will call your exam, rectal exam. Those will take the chance again.
Yeah.
Yes, after doing that rectal exam, or where there's a never color you coloscopy, like waliwo tube jeba inoku okuyisa oku to like get through and see exactly obanga waliwo issues endala kubanga sometimes it can be a bleeding, it can be a polyp, it can be a hemorrhoid, it can be an adenoma, it can be anything. Kati confirming that everything is clear, like all the way is clear. Then never waliwo fiber jeba never color like an ultrasound scan.
Yeah.
Baba over consistency chuka. Webeda chuka, of course the risk is high. No, cancer is like disorganized division of cells. Webe chuka, then of course the susceptibility over the okubanga it is suspected to be a cancer ebeda higher. So kata bagenda further okola biopsy chebayita kuja kakanyama. It is still through that fiber. Now that's like a modern method. They can just kasala and then they send it for histology or through the microscope to see the type of cells and to see that also the type of cancer. They can see so many things through okujako your biopsy. Balaba, the way the cells are dividing, of course, to confirm is it cancer, is it not? And then they see the extent because there is what they call staging. Never staging. Never like all structures is it involved borders.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of like it's like staging. What steps is ever color, and of course that really determines katawo. I'm going to the treatment. That also determine that type of treatment. Jewagendo kuwa. Going kugambia it's a kind cancer. Tetera spreading very fast. So there kati never salombo okay. Or to solo maybe just some medications to kind of shrink it up.
Yeah.
Or to disappear. Cancer cells is disappearing. Normal chemotherapy or by radio, no radiotherapy or radiotherapy. Then over color surgery. Never. That's also like a good way of some people yoga. How can I live without a prostate? Na your surgery eyamba nyo kubanga obera sure tewali spread
Kati, like the way you said, prostate actually basically also helps in when it comes to the sexual performance and everything like that. So if baba jijemu kati awo ensi yaffe yaeriba tebagyononye officially sexually yes,
kituufu ekyo ky'oyogedde because there are hormones that it produces.
Yeah, because basically the prostates are really so good in releasing that, if I don't know, the pigment that helps in the sperm performance and blah 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 blah. Yes, but if it's removed, the prostate gland is removed. Katiao.
And actually tweezer to say but it's extremely sensitive n'abantu bakinyigiramu nnyo nga muli mu pre-operative counseling of like omuntu advising because this is something that is going to spread to your bones, to your pelvis, to your liver. Kakati okukijamu is better than okubanga oyina emanyi g'ekisajja or whatever it is. That's number one thing. Number two, you can get hormonal supplementation, by the way. And people get them, and I'm not gonna say they're really perfect, but it helps. At least all abakatola chinechintu era we batukojjamu yonna babeera nga balabye risks like ze babeera ba preventing kati waliwo kye bayita risk benefit analysis nga okikola n'ogamba kale okukisigaza ekintu kyange nga nina kikansa kiriawo naye nga sagala bakikwateko kate nsaza like really well I don't know but to me I don't really think it makes sense. Of course it's really worrying but that is a long discussion. Some people have that discussion for over a month.
But anyway, like the way you say that prostate also comes with the age when it becomes so sensitive, and when you come into the sexual activity, how one can become active, probably it can tarry no sound no kiriza no ga yema anchayagala chenyo. Watching Charembera nnyo mu bintu bino bwekitunulamu emyaka wegiba gigenderedde waliwo otuuka nga ne bwosaze ng'oli wakusindika njake kakati. There comes a situation where I think when health really matters more compared to these other situations which already you see that even your performance is totally gone in terms of age. Now, it will be so wild and annoying if a teenager is affected with that and then decisions like that are called upon. Yeah, but away from that, you've talked about the treatment and everything. Let's look into it being prostate. Does it actually spread? It's here, but can it keep on spreading and then maybe it gets even another name? I don't know whether my question really is echoes, but you know, something which starts small and then it goes and then can activates, or maybe it tries to change into something else, into another cancer, or spreading into the whole body. Yeah, or it concentrates only in that area.
It spreads definitely. That's why baji jam singa badete spreading bandi kulekede prostate yonge inane cancer kubeba ida confined naye the fact that it can never get confined era ogenda okulaba era eno staging je bakola nga bakola biopsy basoka kulaba ne baji staging has it already gone to the lymph nodes zino ze bayita ozitegedde ze bayita
yeah I know them
yeah kati ezo ze first gundi area then the pelvis ogenda actually this is really a very good question jobuza kubanga some people come nga bayina already spread spread to the spinal cord. Now that is really bad. Kuba yinzo kufuna paralysis atenga tasobola kudda mabega. Like this is not threatening na ye chibeerawo neba waliwo chebayita cord compression. Compression of the spinal cord. Ebe spreading nga that cancer cells are really invaded the spinal cord. Katoli naja with like just sisobola kuyimirira bulungi. I have severe backache and my is feeding like nerves. And when you do like an MRI and those is it modern technology or kulaba what exactly is going on nga it's a tumor nayenga it is the primary area yaba the prostate oba yali prostate ne collagen spreading to the spinal cord yagala jo spinal cord amagumba ne pelvis. Those are the first areas watukira ku liver. Can also go to the liver, the lungs, and everything. Later, your area, yagala spinal cord. So that's why you see on omuntu wajanga aina spinal cord compression, gamusaja at least 60. That's an emergency. An emergency. Spinal cord surgery by decompressing. Balabe, is it from the prostate? Kuba your first suspect. Yeah. So it really spreads. Your question, Joe, was that?
Because really, I was so confused. I was like, can it do some bit of metamorphosis a little bit to change into something else away from its originality, and then before you know it, or treating chintu chilala, yet the primary cause is something different. But your submission actually is really valid. It's really so good. As we go ahead, you've really digested me well on that subject. I feel a little bit satisfied. But if I may ask, are there any supportive measures or therapies, for example, like a case study in Sweden, Yes, you said in Uganda, probably it was more of you doing NGOs in your own way, or doctors giving it a service at times without the support of the government. But here in Europe, a case study of Sweden, where you are right now, are there any supportive measures or therapies for men that are suffering from prostate cancer?
When you talk of supportive therapies or supportive measures, there are quite many. They are quite supportive because, as I said in the start, that it's the commonest cancer. Now, when I say commonest cancer in a first world country, you know what it means. Everyone is like alert about it. So they try so much to do those PSAs as much as possible, to send those letters as much as possible. They have prostate cancer foreigning is like organizations. So they have so much, and they really put in a lot in those kind of groups, and they always send information omanyi wano obuzibu bwe balina bali so individualized, so that tebagenda collecting oba kugenda ku kizindalo kulanga mu trading center, but then they send very many letters. So it's up to you. Babalaba, of course, your personal number, your age and everything, and they send letters kati gwe kiba gy'oli, but there's a lot of useful information. But either meeting wano okulaba oba organizations ezo, or the way they can help. Nayenga basically kyebasinga okola is early screening. Tewali rocket science gwe bakola, tewali magic mboba kati. Yeah, it's basically that, and they've really done so well. Kubanga era chiyodinze results. Kuba ogenda okwesanga nga tewali sente zoyina kusasula really. As long as you look at that information, nogenda address gye bakugambyeko, they take care of you because they really care for their people. Yeah.
Well, it's a great submission that you, the viewers, one thing you have to know, based on what Dr. Ruth has actually tried to give us or has tried to echo to us, is cancer is there to stay. And when it comes to men, trust me, prostate cancer is one issue that we can't avoid in one way or another. Though, yes, if you're not so careful, it can direct you to, depth places where you wouldn't love to see. Yes, cancer is part of us, part of our life, but like the doctor said, it's not the whole life we should actually be worried of, because it's one of the friendly, in quotes, like the way she said, a friendly cancer, which if detected earlier, you can treat it. In nutshell.
One other thing, Mr. Smogy, about the prevention, that I forgot to say, the latest research that smoking really reduces on the incidence.
Hold on.
Really, yeah, it reduces. So, and that's
Dr. Ruth, smoking can reduce.
Yeah, like when I with risk factors.
No,
it reduces. It reduces. Like you can prevent or you can reduce your risk of lung cancer. Smoking. So it's the same thing.
No, I thought that you encouraged to turn but the money.
No, like there are so many things that there are myths, like you can just talk about that maybe eating well or being healthy or doing gym can reduce your risks. Research, research evidence. So one of the latest researches is about that at least when you're a smoker, quit smoking. Your cells are gonna kind of playing at a very fast rate. You might be preventing, or you might be adding yourself some good years of health. So just that. Of course, waliwo ebirala of course obesity, it's also and physical.
Talk about smoking. Then is there any effects when it comes to alcohol? Because in Denmark, I mean in Scandinavian or in Europe, the rate at which we drink, sometimes even harder spirits or things like that, is at a higher rate. Question is there any way quitting alcohol can also be prevention, a tool to prevent?
It might be there, but it's not evidence-based. Get away kugambye. So got evidence. Evidence. When it comes to liver cancer, when it comes to pancreatic cancer, that's like number one. It is well documented and well researched. So, it is the smoking. About the alcohol, it might be, but it's not well researched. It's not evidence. So that's what I can say.
Okay. Just a reminder to those who are online and watching. It's a yes. On the 15th of July 2024, we shall be having the Euro tournament, and this we shall be having it on the 15th, as the way you see our flyer, the way it's going. The Euro tournament that will be next year, and like the way it was in Sweden this year, we are proudly and privileged and bold enough to say that Norway scooped this advantage this time around to host. And I guess if they really toughen a bit, if that's English, they will manage to get the trophy, because this year they tried their level best, even though they couldn't handle the energetic boys from Denmark, of the Uganda Cranes Denmark. They really did a great work. But like we said, events like this, they really help people to merge and then to, network, find friends, jobs, those who have partners, sometimes even they phone them on issues like that. But most of all, sharing ideas really matters much, as the fact that we're in Europe and we all need this sense of belonging, finding our own, and then we associate positively. That's what I'm trying to mean, not negatively. Let's meet with a purpose, have fun, but hey, ebidalalala ebitatuzimba society tubireke ebbali, because they're not really so productive. But let's always meet for a purpose. There's a reason as to why Euroforum also comes in here to give an impact on people, on how best, or maybe to redirect where we've gone wrong. And then we have a sense of purpose. For some reason, that's why topics like this always come out, to create awareness. But it's AKA Smoggy, and the time is really not on our side. Would have gotten a lot from Dr. Ruth, but as we always say, time is never on our side. It's always doing injustice. But also, I would like also to congratulate Banange, kino kanchitwale mu Luganda. Abamasaza abawangudde amasaza b'ebulemeezi, mwebalire ddala. Mwawutudde abaana b'eggomba, naye ekyo tekibeewanisa nnyo. Mutereezanga oludde kuga munywerere awo, ekikopo mwakiridde, naye congratulations, that's what I could say. And for those who are fanatics of boxing, yes, I think you really witnessed the football, the boxing, which was there. Yes, ekyatadde abantu bungi nnyo ku bunkenke. Tyson managed, in quotes, managed to defend to defeat Francis, that Ghanaian man, on points which was 94. The first round was actually 94, and then Francis won it. The second one, Tyson won it when he had 96 on 93, and the last one still 95, 94. Yeah, for those who know actually boxing, it was something which was so interesting. It was a good game, a good fight. That's what I would say. And last but not least, I would love also to get a reminder of Norway is having another final party. I think I'll be getting the details very soon. Just to remind people in Norway, they'll be having a get-together party, which is wrapping up the year. I'll be getting the details soon. I'll be notifying you. Let's go back a little bit on our topic of discussion as we come to the conclusion. Dr. Ruth, we've seen science actually has really evolved so much. Apparently, sometimes you might be even home. Actually, COVID did wonders when it came, that we started to realize how to live within our means and effectively. Most times, many people really are working from home. But in the world of science, where it has evolved, we are seeing the AI evolvement, artificial intelligence, like the way they say AI. How is the medical world? Because AI actually has gone now from finance, it has gone now to even in farming, in the medical world. How effective is this artificial intelligence actually, the AI? Do you really embrace it?
That really depends on the field. Maybe with that.
And how safe are you in your jobs?
Maybe you can just give me an example and I tell you how exactly, because when you say medical world, that's why you have so many specializations and so many branches. So but also saying in the medical world has so much. It has nursing assistants, it has researchers, it has so much. It has technical people, it has lab attendants, it has cleaners. It has so much. So I don't know exactly, like with the treatment.
Let me go to now the lab. All those who are into the lab and then who do the treatment, surgery and things like that. Are we still safe?
Depends on, number one, the condition itself. When it comes to surgery, for example, it depends on the condition itself. It depends on the type of surgery, because when you talk of AI, I don't know exactly if you're looking at robots, or I don't know exactly what you're meaning. But there's nothing like that. It's not, like these days I'm seeing so many restaurants that people are serving, like robots are really serving them. Like, come on, who would want to sit on an operating table and remove their appendix with a robot? Definitely, there's a surgeon who is going to be behind that camera. I don't know if you understand. So definitely, it's going to reduce the labor power in a way of, like, like maybe operating nurses, because sometimes there are just so many and like sending equipment to use and stuff. Open surgeries again are reducing anyo, definitely. And of course, when it comes to abdominal surgeries, there's a single kati. Laparoscopy is the way to go. Even in Uganda itself, actually. I have colleagues of mine who are really training in laparoscopy. They come to Europe, they train, and they go back to Uganda. So kati initially aina operating oba assistant operating nurse nga basatu nga asigaza omu bwekityo, naye nga definitely if someone is a surgeon or someone is an obstetrician, they have to be behind that camera. Otherwise tugenda kusalawo mbu kakati eno artery sigenda gisala kati kansala eno nerve. That is very sensitive, Smoggy. It's extremely sensitive.
I'm looking at this in the layman's way of thinking, and I love the way.
Restaurant.
Yes, Dr. Ruth, away from the prostate cancer, I would love also, you being an Afropin and based in Sweden, you in the medical world, and then you managed to maintain this when you came to Europe. Most of us who came in with different professions, and here we are totally doing something else. What are maybe the challenges? Have you also faced some challenges according to what you studied way back home, in line with what is actually being studied here or practically being done in the medical world here in Europe, Sweden? Do you see a total diverse or?
Yeah, thank you for that question. I'm going to say the number one is the medical practice worldwide on average is the same. That's why when it comes to duration, average years worldwide. No boss Iran, no Badewa, no Badewa. And the good thing with us in Uganda, by the way, standard year fair, you are because when
Uganda,
you look at, for example, Makerere, I'm talking about Makerere, it's my university.
Oh, wow.
When I list in the College of Health Sciences. Kubanga, ogendo kusanga, watutuka mu fourth year, ogendo laba, like I already made friends before I came, abali medical students, kubanga bajanga, never call exchange program nafe. Nengo ogendo kulaba nga, tebamanyi bintu bya katife gatu imina quad rounds over 6 hours. Nenga bo, ebintu ebiri, tebamanyi, like that, for them they're really focused. Ogendo kulaba nga, oli kuva second year, agenda kuva maybe hand and wrist surgeon. Kakati womuza mu OBGY mu gynecology naye kakati ffe batupikaga ebintu bingi nyo ogenda mu plastic and burn surgery nogenda mu pediatrics kati we were just too overwhelmed naye bano bali mu directional obontegeera. So that's the difference. So that's why when they know so much. Era mu your field olaba cardiologist newamuvuunika amanyi buli kimu naye omutwala mu field endala talina idea era bajja kugamba honestly I don't have an idea naye akati fe there is just too much but then nga knowledge eringa eri shallow I'm sorry to say
yeah, I get it.
kati tetugenda mu depth of exactly that ekyo kyenyinyini ekirala like difference of course with the kind of what we treat kati waffe tulina a lot of when it comes to infectious diseases of course tulina malaria tulina TB tulina hepatitis tulina HIV tabiriwo wano ogenda sanga infectious disease department nga mulimu maybe which virus ebera mu winter you know those funny influenza and that's it kitega tugenda HIV babale ate nga bali handled by like specialist care so kati ogenda okwesanga nga it's quite totally different when it comes to cardiology fe waffe tuli so surfaced ogenda kulanga ne advanced equipment go bakozesa okebera emitima nga specialist yabikwatako mu Heart Institute then if I trained from the National Referral Hospital wala bintu byesalabako naye wano nga even a medical student tewali kyatamanyi mu cardiology so you really have to up your game you really have to be there your disadvantage actually sometimes ngantula nese kana sikananga what medical student nga tewali kyata as you know webakwata ku kintu they are really good era olaba cardiologist you're very sure of like 100% akati ebyafugenda okulabanga to be honest tetugenda mu depth so that's the challenge I really faced of course nekirala kati there is just when it comes to diseases it's really different. I've just talked about the NCDs, non-communicable diseases, infectious like the autoimmune diseases, for example rheumatic disease bingi nerves and for example myasthenia you know that those rare things but we don't have diagnosis
the minimal
we don't have chiringa diabetes is very common naye wano bamuteka quite a lot of emphasis you really have to know the nitty-gritties the latest of course nature chiri different kubanga fe tusoma bitabo when you are home you know a lot of information also maybe bitabo bwebiti naye wano it is the latest everything is based on research of course the fact that when wakola nyo research obuda bamayina nyo research evidence based wali byakuteeba so you really have to be good the toina option rachid ochivam naye nga to jisegeswa so that's the challenge actually wala natuka nenga nganda bachimenya you know you have to balance you have to balance this you have to balance this ngabiri too much naye nga of course afterwards really appreciate that wala omurade olabira dalanga you really you appreciate these people like but kanyo bali they're really detailed era wabanga tali
they really specialize in an area and then they execute it properly
ya prostate waba ya liver tagenda gama anene kino kisobola mpaya o million 2 nkulongo se no
nkuyiye
kula ewafe surgeon mwalongosa so it's you know that's the issue at the war and of course when you say that okay maybe we start super specializing at home emilimo ogendo la baba bagenda jijawa you know ero geno kwesanga tewali muntu ajogamba okay now me when it comes to orthopedics I'm dealing with only knee surgery abarada agenda bafunade when will they ever get money so ataraga abasinga it's the private practice that really pays them in a way so geno labanga orthopedic surgery nayenga trauma surgery amukola spine surgery amukola knee surgery amukola naye wano if it is spinal you don't do knee era spinal oba omala mwezi mulama katofunye murade it's okay your salary is gonna come naye nga yo area yo so kati awo we wali difference atenga nene nyo
actually you talked about even research in terms of you know, findings which can ease the works of very many. Yes, you're very right in a way. You realize that Sweden actually is doing a lot of research or even investing in research back home in our own country, where results also come just direct here instead of our country utilizing such. So it's why it's a question where our leaders really have to do a lot to know where to distribute resources, where and when. But it's a topic which has been fully digested by Dr. Ruth. or based on what I would think, I would expect many questions, but I think people are really enjoying your submission. And the questions, the topics that are really sensitive, that at times listening is much more better than even asking. Or probably I've done the great work to ask in a layman's way, such that people are satisfied. But all in all, Dr. Ruth, really do appreciate your humble time to spare all you had to do, and then you fix a little time to be with us on this show. There are few people who actually value their time, and they say, Smoggy, thank you, but I cannot make it. But more credit goes back to you. In your time you squeezed, and then you said you have to be with us. If I may ask again, what is your angle of specialty in the medical world?
As I said initially, I
Yeah.
did global health, so it's basically global health
Global
research.
health. Oh, yeah.
That, and of course, like family medicine.
Oh, okay.
So basically, that's it. Yeah.
Well, away from that, how does your day start? Like you being a parent, being a doctor, married to a doctor. I'm wondering, given how your setup looks like home, a family of doctors seems to be something different.
That's what
How is your day like? As when you wake up, how's your day like?
One thing, I used to be super ambitious when I was in medical school, and I used to really do those very intensive. I used to think I was interested in those intensive specializations that really stand in theater for 12 hours and stuff like that, surgical specializations. But when you come here, it's quite different. So you really have to prioritize your mental health and your family, because you're not going to have a nanny for your babies. So that's something that you really have to look into and really say, okay, wow, we're going to compare some flexibility as a mother. And of course, their dad also has to look into that. So sometimes it really gets funny. You prioritize yourself, your life, and no balancing. So it's not all the time that you have to be on the run.
True.
No, you're not gonna do that. So sometimes all of it I know gamba, okay. Now for this, Bansale Kobo says the percentage, let me stay home. It's not very easy. Kubanga sometimes because of course you not work like 100%. So you know Atenga womanyi to be our no bills and everything, but where you're protecting your your health, and you need time for your children. It's one of the most important things. And don't regret that time. So my dad always told me that if you or to come comfort zone, that you can at least provide also to basic needs in life. When you have when you're a young mother, to say over you have children, but prioritize that kuba tebagenda kubera young forever. Kati byonna byonna olaba it's not crazy as someone really says God has really been good and about good health. Yes, so it starts really busy as usual, like 6 a.m. you're up and you're there and here and everything. Never like we'll phone a phone call, for example, man I'm rade over chi over linga tali happy and your side. My child is not happy. What's the problem? I really have to investigate, and since I told him some people come to work as daycare teachers, stress. So you really have to find to the root. Kakati ofuna obudde bonna when atoga na bufuna tengo olieri mudwaliro olieri mu meeting yo. No, where would they off even if it's 2 weeks? No, let me do this for my baby. So sibyangu na yenga, that's one of the biggest challenges. First all wokakana. No, ensine kukakanya naga okay now. Accept mama. Let me do this. Kubanga twali muntu mulala agenda chinkolera. So
okay. In terms of payment, okay, let's look at in terms of remuneration in Uganda as compared to Sweden. Where do you feel more comfortable? And incentives connected, everything. Where do you feel more comfortable?
What kind of question is this?
Hello, anyway, by virtue of your laugh, I'm getting your answer.
Hey,
But, Dr. Ruth, as we come to a conclusion of our show today, I was asking you, how is your day like in a way? If you aren't actually a doctor, what would you have been?
I don't know. I can't imagine that, and I can't answer that.
Do you come from a family of doctors?
White.
White, okay.
And my parents, but my siblings and cousins and everything. So like from the time I was 6 years, it's the only thing I've ever imagined.
You've imagined, okay.
So maybe being a teacher, maybe. Yeah.
Because actually, according to the way you answering, I think you're good. You can teach.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because I was asking that because I wanted to preferably know some of your hobbies actually. What are some of your hobbies?
No, that's really
Is swimming part of it?
Yeah, but I'm not perfect, but I love it.
Which is okay. Watching movies?
Yeah. I love action. It's really strange. So imagine, I think because I'm surrounded by guys, I'm like, I love even today I'll catch an action movie. I can't wait.
Okay, yes, we come to a summary, and if this was a show and it was a movie or in the medical world, can you dedicate only one series in the medical world to define our show today?
Wow, I can't answer that. I don't know what you meant.
Just give us any series you could recommend anyone to just watch, which is in the medical world, if you're a fanatic of series.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna say, because I love Tekken, I'm not gonna say Tekken. I'm not going to say Grey's Anatomy. That's really old school, but it's what I can relate with, because we've talked about more of like medical diagnosis and treatment. So I don't know. I can't really say anything.
Give us only two. Shall go and watch those who haven't watched it.
No, I don't have. Maybe you can suggest, but I don't have really.
Any last remark as we come to the end of the show, Dr. Ruth?
Thank you for this program. Apparently, I'm not someone who loves being out there, especially from the time I came to Europe, to be honest. But I love this forum and had, because I know it has very good intentions. It has changed a lot of people's mindsets. Attention to chirungi nyonyonyo no banga or China connection wamwe. But at the same time, you're not really losing track and you're getting better. You're getting information. Sometimes I get a link and I chip in once in a while to see and to watch, and I really like it. It's quite interesting. So guys, you're doing a great job. I'm proud of you. Please keep it up. Bantu bafebetaga mikutu wejiti. Sometimes it might not really match with everyone's expectations, but at least it matches the majority. And the fact that you're doing an excellent job, please keep it up. And that's what I can say. And I greatly appreciate everything you do for the Ugandan community in these countries and worldwide at large, because I know so many people watch and some back stream. They go back and stream and watch and do all those things. And definitely it's quite some very good information, because you bring people from like different walks of life to share experiences, to share knowledge. It makes us improve our ways of life, not only us but even the future generation. Okuberanga to keeping your pace. Tuli stagnant. I don't know if you read that. Yeah, so thank you so much. That's the what I can say as I conclude. And I love you all, and bye.
Wow, what a submission, and really, really thank you very, very much for those insights. Really, tickled a little bit, because sometimes we don't know who we are, we don't know what we do, but when you hear, a third party talking about what you do, sometimes maybe it gives us the power to come more and more and more every Sunday to manifest, at least to share. Yes, and as we're talking about sharing, yes, on the 9th December, we shall be having the end of year dinner party in Norway. So people in Oslo, please try to be available, and at least you gather, like the way Dr. Ruth has said. we need more time, I mean, to connect. And then, yes, and it's one of the major call Euroforum does, to see that we can have a sense of belonging, togetherness as we try to see, how we can make ends meet in this diaspora where we are. That's why you see Denmark, Denmark, Norway, Netherlands, German, and Belgium, Finland. We all try to see that we look for areas where we can unite and become one. Euroforum, that's what we do most. And today we are so much happy and privileged to see that Dr. Ruth managed to surface, and then she shared what she can on this platform. And this knowledge, I know it's going to be beneficial. Those who have not been on direct live like Oris, they always come later and they rewatch it and give us feedbacks. But just a humble request as we go to conclusion. Dr. Ruth, will it be possible if, in any case, we need more of your time someday, who knows? Just a humble request. I always love to ambush people live here so that they can say either a no or a yes, and we know our position. Dr. Ruth, are you ready to come back next time when we need a medical kind of help, or sharing another angle where you feel it's a zone of your comfort?
Yeah, this is a great forum. So why not? We shall schedule. If it really fits, then we go for it. Why not?
By the time I requested, it was because I was really satisfied with your submission. So I feel many other people are really so have the same thought like the way I'm thinking. Thank you, and thank you for accepting. Next invitation, it's just a call. I'll let you know, and then we see what to deal with. But for now, allow me to say thank you, my team, great team, Mogisha, Moses, Jorin. You guys have really done a great work for me for this show to really have meaning, and not forgetting Gibson, who was doing a lot of graphics there. But all for now, allow me to say it's been a Sunday. Like a reminder, I told you, it's just 63 days remaining to call it off. I mean, to wrap the year off. So it's a wake-up call to revisit your challenges you had laid. But as for now, allow me to say, aka Smoggy, goodbye for now, and thank you for being with us.